Now we pass on to the second module of the unit, crowdfunding and peer-to-peer lending. There is a general notion that only wealthy and elite or sophisticated people can contribute to the business ventures. It can be seen a revolutionary change in this concept by the introduction of crowdfunding or crowd financing. The noble idea of inclusiveness and social inclusion is being materialized through this innovative financing model. The economic, social, cultural or geographic factors of the crowd in no way influence the model of finance under the crowd. The required finance for the business idea is collected from large number of people, that is from the crowd. It can be contributed in different forms. The crowd may contribute the funds for financing the startups in different ways as to donation, in the form of reward, in the form of equity, or even in the form of a debt. What is crowd financing or crowdfunding? The concept of crowdfunding draws inspiration from the concept like microfinancing and what is called the crowdsourcing. Crowdsourcing is the idea of collecting ideas, feedbacks, solutions and observations from the crowd to develop business strategies. Let us see what is meant by crowdfunding or what is the definition of crowdfunding. A crowdfunding is defined as an open call essentially through the internet for the provision of financial resources either in form of donation or in exchange for some form of reward and or voting rights in order to support initiatives for specific purposes. Crowdfunding can be put in simple words as to the innovative way of funding business projects from large number of people through an internet platform. In other words, it is a process of collecting small amounts from a large number of public across the nation or globe to finance a project based on web-based platform. An online fund procurement is the mechanism adopted under crowdfunding or crowdfinancing. Fund or finance needed for the startup is raised from the crowd, raised from the people. Smaller amounts from a larger number of people will be mobilized so as to finance the innovative business idea of startup. In order to have the crowd financing mechanism for the startup business, we have to have the basic understanding that there are certain parties or agencies involved in the crowdfunding mechanism. They are innovators or the creators or the entrepreneurs, the platforms, the funders and the regulatory frameworks. The parties to the crowdfunding includes initiators or the creators who are the originators of the business project. Second, the funders or the investors who will contribute the money. This is the crowd. The third one is the platforms which can be seen as the online marketplace on which the creators and funders would interact. Even though directly these three parties are involved in the crowdfunding mechanism, the regulatory mechanism is also there. How the working of this crowdfunding can be put under the norms and regulations under the rule, that is regulatory mechanism. If we go through the different stages in crowdfunding, we can identify what are the responsibilities and duties or functions which are being rendered by the innovators or creators, the platforms and the investors or the crowd. See, the stages of crowdfunding includes business application to platform, pitch goes live, funding window and post investment. Let us see each of the stages involved in crowdfunding one by one. Stage 1, business application to platform. The entrepreneur or project owner submits his or her plan to the crowdfunding platform for review. The application form is usually referred to as a pitch and consists of the business idea, plan, details of the financing the venture plans to achieve and specifically pre-money evaluation and shareholders agreement details in case of equity crowdfunding. This is scrutinized by the crowdfunding platform and after discussions, changes and deliberations, the project is published on the crowdfunding platform website. The pitch is the media wherein the innovator puts his applications and make an appeal to the crowd as to what he intends to start, what is his idea of doing the business. He need to mention the problem identification. He has to define what problem he has identified, the issue confronted by the society or a group of people or a place where that needs a sound solution, a creative solution is being put forward through the pitch. And this problem faced by the society or a particular place is to be solved. So what is the tentative suggestion or solution introduced by the creator should be made here. And in this pitch, if the problem defined or problem created is more serious and severe, the attraction or the solution will be more appealing or more impressive to the crowd who will be ready to finance that noble venture. See, once the problem is being defined, that may not be full-fledged in the different dimensions. There may be people or there may be the crowd or the prospective investors who may be attracted by the noble venture. They make their own suggestions. They may have their own doubts and clarifications and inhibitions as to whether the tentative solution suggested by the entrepreneur is adequate or sufficient or that will find solution to the problem as a whole. Therefore, there should be provisions or there should be clauses for attracting the discussions and queries and clarifications of the crowd from the different sources. In this pitch, this particular initiator or the creator of the business idea make an inquiry or he make a particular statement that support this idea. You be the backers of the idea, and if you are interested, kindly share the idea through the different medias. Thereby, this particular business idea is communicated or conveyed among the globe through the internet media. So it will be nice to make video presentation rather than describing each and every clarifications. Validation of the concept of the business idea can be carried out only when a provision is given to the crowd, those who are interested to contribute money for the noble venture, those who are ready to share their interest with the followers, only when we are providing a provision of discussions and interactions. Thereby, we may be able to validate the idea. So, we may be able to proceed with the noble idea confidently. And again, there need to have understanding as to what is the mode of operation of this crowd financing. So, the mode of operation of crowd financing or where from the funds can be collected. The funds may be collected from the nation itself. It may be a domestic one, or maybe an international one. So the pitch will be describing as to what are the modes of operation. The modes of operations may be donation, it may be reward, maybe equity, or maybe debt, or called peer-to-peer. And the period of this particular project is also mentioned. Then the second stage is stage 2, pitch goes live. Project owners publish their work online and people sign up their interest. All this is termed as pre-round. Project owners get all relevant data on crowd interest and then make a decision if they want to generate capital by going for and what is called an open round. Investors access through the material published by the project owners, share their thoughts, and the interaction develops during this stage. The impact of the pitch is enhanced if the demonstration of the project is done through a video. The pitch stays in live and is updated regularly. The third stage of crowdfunding financing is funding window. Pitches are usually on the crowdfunding platform for a period of 30 to 120 days depending on the platform. Each platform will have its own duration of the project. It may be ranging from 30 days, it may sometimes up to 45 days, maybe up to 60 days sometimes, or it may be even up to 120 days. Funding campaigns usually are active between 5 to 10 weeks, with the lending crowdfunding taking around 5 weeks, equity crowdfunding around 8 weeks, and reward or donations taking about 10 weeks. It all depends on what type of crowdfunding we intend to make. The crowdfunding may be based on donation, it may be based on reward, it may be based on equity, or maybe sometimes debt or peer-to-peer lending. Based on this model of crowdfunding, the crowdfunding period platform ranges from 30 to 120 days. During this period, the project owners market their project through the platform, and the crowdfunding platform also market itself. The project owners in addition use their own marketing channels too. The funding window can close for two reasons. The two reasons: one is if the target is not reached even after the stipulated date, it may be closed. And second, if the target fund collection is reached within the period. The success or failure of the campaign is decided in this stage. The crowdfunding platform may provide key services like personalized consultation, email marketing, backer management tool, social media PR efforts, etc. And the last stage involved in crowdfunding is post-investment. The interaction between the entrepreneur and the investors continue, especially in the case of equity crowdfunding and debt crowdfunding. Investors may continue as the shareholders based on discussions. If the minimum fund is not collected within the stipulated date, the fund raised will be refunded to the investors. The crowdfunding is considered as an innovative financing method. It means the suppliers of finance the crowd and the creators of the project, that the innovators or the entrepreneurs, need not meet personally. They cannot meet personally. The entire discussions or interaction about the launching of the project, about the solution of the project, about the terms and conditions of financing the project, about the working of the project, everything is done on online basis. So the platform wherein these discussions and interactions take place in is called as crowdfunding platforms or crowdfunding websites. Platforms provide the facility of interaction between the entrepreneurs and the investors. Some platform may deal with different types of crowdfunding alone. Some platform may specialize donation only. Some platform may specialize in reward crowdfunding only. Others may specialize equity crowdfunding. Others may specialize peer-to-peer lending or say debt crowdfunding. There are crowdfunding platforms which provide all the different types of crowdfunding also. Depending on the nature, functions, terms and conditions of the platform, the entrepreneur has to make an agreement with the appropriate platform. So, the role of the crowdfunding platform is very, very crucial in crowdfunding finance. Those people who are having the internet access alone can become the integral part of this financing. That means the crowd need to have the internet access, they need to have the technological awareness, they need to interact with the entrepreneurs, they need to interact with the innovators of the business idea. And these platforms will contain the terms and conditions regarding their fees, depending on the period of the project of collection, depending on type of the crowdfunding, the fees of the platform charge will be varying. It may vary from 5% to 10%, 8% to 13% based on the integrity and the experience and the market share. The platforms used to charge different fees. So the period of closure of each project may be different. Certain project forms will be live only for 30 days. Other projects may be live for 45 days. Others may be active for say 90 days or 120 days. Depending on the period of the platform also, the fees and other terms will be changing. What is the minimum period within which the amount need to be collected from the crowd is another important criterion. So while we make the agreement with the platform, the businessman, that is the entrepreneur or the innovator, need to have a clarity as to what are the terms and conditions put forward by the platform. Whether the platform we look for is ideal to the type of crowdfunding we intend to make. And there are certain restrictions on the platforms also. Means certain platforms may deal only, say for example, reward crowdfunding. Most of the platforms working in India are based on reward and also donation. Say for example, Kickstarter, Wishberry, say GoFundMe are the promising platforms who provide different types of crowdfunding, especially donation and reward. But in India, so far no equity crowdfunding is being made. Therefore, platforms need regular upgradation and advancement. Then what is the nature of the platform operation? So platform may function domestically or platform may function internationally. Now the global platforms are having a tendency of making tie-up with the Indian platforms like Kickstarter, GoFundMe, etc. As I told you earlier, the selection of the platforms depends on the type of the crowdfunding models. There are different crowdfunding models. One is called donation based crowdfunding. Another is called reward model crowdfunding. Another one is equity crowdfunding. And the last one, debt based crowdfunding or peer-to-peer lending. Let us see one by one. Donation model crowdfunding. Most of the successful crowdfunding that took place in India belong to this category. There are crowd who will be attracted towards the novelty of the project undertaken by the creators. It may be a social issue, it may be an environmental issue, it may be a political issue. So there may be certain activities which may be attracted by the crowd through the novelty of the idea, rehabilitation of socially challenged people. There may be issues which are very social, which will be upholding the ethics and values of the people. There may be a lot of rehabilitation projects that will make the life of certain group of people, say, up to the expected level of the society. See, the important platforms which are doing this donation based crowdfunding are Kickstarter, Indiegogo, Crowdfunder, Rocket Hub. Again, this form of crowdfunding is used primarily for non-profit activities. So the crowd contributes the fund as a donation. There is no expectation of any return. They don't expect to get back the amount. They don't expect to get any periodical amount. But if the idea created by the innovators or entrepreneurs is a novel one or impressed by the crowd, they will contribute very generously. There are a lot of successful crowdfunding projects in India. So for example, a film, Kannada film Lucia, introduced in 2013, a famous ex-IIT, Bombay IIT professional, Pavan Kumar, produced this particular film named Lucia in the 2013 in Kannada language. He made a proposal through the platform inviting the making of a film named Lucia. Within 37 days, he could collect amount of 71 lakh rupees. And the number of contributors of this noble venture was 612 persons. So the film Lucia, produced in 2013, have a producer numbering 612 producers. The owners or the producers of this particular film around 612. It was a very great successful film. It was sold to Udaya Film for 95 lakhs, could make large amount of profit. Next we come to the second model of crowdfunding, that is reward model. Under this crowdfunding system, the entrepreneurs or the innovators of the business idea offer a product or a service to the crowd who contribute towards the novel venture. Based on the amount contributed by the crowd, the reward in the form of product or service varies. The reward may not be highly substantial. It may not be a huge amount. It may be sometimes a very value added product. It may be sometimes a telephonic call. It may be sometimes a telephone with a celebrity. It may be sometimes a particular service or a signature of a particular established businessman. So there are large number of platforms which are functioning in India which specializes reward form of crowdfunding. The important established crowdfunding platforms are GoFundMe, Indiegogo, Kickstarter, etc. So the next form of crowdfunding is equity crowdfunding. As against the donation crowdfunding or reward crowdfunding, equity crowdfunding refers to the acquisition of the shares issued by the vendors of the startups. They become the owners of the startup. But in fact, India till now, this is not being materialized. Even though this crowdfunding by purchasing the equity shares of the startup business concern is available in the world, it is not started in India. It has to develop. At the same time, there are certain platforms which are available in our nation also, like Syndicate Room, Crowdcube and CDS, etc. See, the important well-established crowdfunding platforms operating in India are Catapult, Keto, Wishberry, Fuel a Dream, FundStream India, Dream Wallets, Impact Guru, Kickstarter, GoFundMe, etc., etc. Now let us come to what are the benefits of crowdfunding. A number of benefits are there coming from this crowdfunding. The important ones are access to capital, cost reduction, better customer acceptance, control, risk diversification, brainstorming, marketing tool, cross promotion, development and testing of one's own idea or concept or the market, no professional guarantees. Even though these benefits are there in the form of risk diversification or say brainstorming, it is not free from limitations. There are certain risks or challenges of crowdfunding. The important risks that are being confronted by the crowdfunding are risk of default, risk of fraud, central role of internet, information asymmetry, responsibility issues, liquidity risk. If we go through these different risks, we can find the risk of default is there. See, the crowdfunding will be successful only when we are able to mobilize the minimum amount expected within the period of project, that is 30 days or 45 days. If the targeted amount is not being collected within the stipulated period of time, the risk is there. We cannot continue with the project. The full amount collected so far is to be refunded. A lot of risk is also there with respect to fraud. Platforms are having lot of experiences. They know the mechanism has to attract the attention of the crowd. They may be deviate from the terms and conditions dictated by the entrepreneurs of the startups. So this may be leading to mismatch between the information supplied by the initiators to a platform and the information taken by the crowd from the platform. This may lead to what is called information asymmetry. And there are lot of issues with respect to the credibility of the internet also. People may not have the access to the internet facilities. So the viability or the credibility of the platform is an important matter which is to be identified, which is to be tested or validated by the innovator of the business. Also there are liquidity risk. We have already seen that there are 4 types of crowdfunding. 1. Donation crowdfunding. 2. Reward based crowdfunding. 3. Equity crowdfunding. And the 4th one, debt crowdfunding. This debt crowdfunding is commonly known as peer-to-peer lending. We all know that business people need finance. At the same time, individuals are also there. They are in need of finance. There are people having lot of money. So at one side, people are in need of money. At the other side, people are having lot of money to lend. So there should be a mechanism whereby how these needers of the fund, that is the borrowers of the fund, can interact with the lenders of the fund without the physical existence of a mediator. Now the internet is serving as the mediator to make an interlink or connection between these borrowers and the lenders of money. Both these parties can register with a website. A platform is there. So in peer-to-peer lending, an online platform matches lenders and investors with me to provide finance. That is, those who are ready to provide the finance and those who are in need of finance can come together through the internet. Some peer-to-peer platforms arrange loans between individuals, while other platforms pool funds which are then lent to small and medium-sized business. At present, the peer-to-peer lending extended to pay off even credit card debt. It is used for making home improvement or developments. It can be used for auto financing through this website also. Both the borrower and investor can contact directly without a third party. Investor get higher return with the bearable risk. Peer-to-peer borrowers seek an alternative to the traditional banker or at a better rate than the banks offer. The peer-to-peer mechanism can be understood only when we are identifying what are the procedures involved in it. The different procedures involved in it are, one is registration. People sign up to the platform either as a borrower or lender. Submission of the loan proposal is required to be made to the particular platform. Platform evaluates the credit worthiness of the applicants. Using the credit information, platform will assign credit grade to the proposed loan and also the interest rate corresponding to risk grade. Loan request is posted on the platform's website where lenders can review loans and look for those loans that meet their desired risk and return features. So with respect to the working of this debt crowdfunding or P2P lending, commonly known, that is peer-to-peer lending, needs RBI regulatory framework. Without the strict regulation, control and monitoring of RBI, peer-to-peer lending cannot function. So the important RBI regulations give emphasis on the different aspects of the platforms are permitted activity, prudential requirements, governance requirements, business continuity plan BCP, customer interface and reporting requirements. By this, we come to the end of the second module of this unit entitled Crowd Financing and Peer-to-Peer Lending. Thus, we need to have an understanding as to what is crowdfunding, what are the procedures involved in crowdfunding, what are different types of crowdfunding, and what are the major types of crowdfunding that we have been practicing in our country. What is the modus operandi or what are the requirements of successful crowdfunding process? And also with respect to the peer-to-peer lending, what is the requirements and regulatory frameworks that are to be complied by the platforms which are engaged in the peer-to-peer lending. Thank you.